Hello, race fans, and welcome once again to another high-octane episode of Trackside, proudly presented by Document Technologies. Document Technologies provides a comprehensive range of managed solutions, including multifunction devices, managed print services, and document management software. They're also known for their fast service, boasting an average response time of 2 hours or less, and offer high-quality product multifunction devices alongside document management and cloud hosting software. Stay tuned, racing enthusiasts, because the action starts right now, right here on Trackside.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Terry Turner here. Randy Dye right there. Welcome to Trackside. Randy, we are rolling into a championship weekend starting in just an hour or so. We're going to do something a little different, I think, Randy, because we have so much to cover. So we're going to start off with local here in just a second. But I'm going to throw a question out to you, Randy, so you're going to have a little bit of time to think about it before we get to Cup. Okay, you ready for the question?
Probably not, but go ahead anyway.
Okay, so the question is, if Aunt B were alive today, could we trust her? You got it?
Got it.
Okay, all right, something to think about. Mr. Mark, you can think about that one too. So anyway, with that being said,
Mr. Mark's trying to figure out who Aunt B is.
And then we got lots more good stuff to cover. So stand by. Here we go, local section of the Trackside program.
One Daytona, located across from the world's center of racing, is proud to present our local segment, where we talk with a local star in your part of the country following a big win, event preview, and much more. One Daytona in Daytona Beach is a vibrant destination offering an array of shopping, dining, and entertainment options, including unique events and live music suitable for families and individuals alike.
Release Speedway Park off until November the 15th, where they'll be rolling out a new event for 2025, the Prelude to the Rudiman. The Saturday night event will be the final Fab 5 race for 2025 for the Dirt Car UMP Modified, 604 late models, 602 late models, factory stocks, and three-quarter modifieds. The winner of the UMP Modified race will be locked in to the Dale Rudiman Memorial the following weekend. New Smyrna Speedway off this week, back next week with the War on 44. You'll see Super Stocks, Blackjack Seal Coating Bomber A's, Bomber B's, Florida Southern Ground Pounders, and Mod Minis. And Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola off until November 22nd, where they'll come back with the Snowball Derby preview and Crown Stock Derby. NASCAR races last week to decide the final four guys that head to the championship this weekend. In the trucks, the winner for that one was Corey Heim, Xfinity Taylor Gray, and the Cup guy, William Byron, who overcame some bad luck in the last couple of races to dominate in Martinsville. And so we head to the championship this weekend in Phoenix. The truck race coming up here shortly at 7:30 on Fox Sports 1 tomorrow on Saturday. Xfinity guys hit the track at 7:30. That's on CW. And the Cup race at 3 p.m. on Sunday on NBC. All right, good stuff. Okay, Randy, what a great week it's been. Championship week always is, but yesterday it seemed that the media was more focused on anything else, but more so than politics, more so than anything. Everywhere I looked, there was Daniel Dye, all over media, YouTube, everywhere. And then a fantastic interview. I wish we had the time to play. Randy, today's show could go 5 hours pretty easily, but we don't have that time. But a fantastic interview with SiriusXM on the On Track show. Larry McReynolds was doing an interview with Mr. Daniel Dye. Randy, can you talk to us a little bit about that, kind of cover the interview a little bit? And, I guess we'll just go ahead and kind of throw in what they were talking about and what the media is jumping up and down about. But I'm just going to let you roll that out. So go for it, please.
Well, it's been a work in progress. Yesterday, the announcement, or I think it was actually Wednesday, that the announcement kind of started to get out about Daniel joining colleague again next year, but in a different capacity. Colleague has paused their Xfinity Series efforts in favor of being the Ram truck team, which you all saw announced in August. They didn't announce any drivers at that time. The first announcement was Brennan Queen, Butterbean as they like to call him, and that was very exciting. And then recently they announced Daniel, and then the return of Justin Haley back to colleague in a truck. At the end of the day, of the three drivers announced so far, Daniel's by far the youngest. He's much younger than Brendan, and he's younger than Justin, and so it's interesting. I think Daniel's story, and Larry McReynolds did a really good job of pulling it out of him. It kind of, for Daniel, this is what he's known as it relates to the car business. It's the Dodge, the Chrysler, the Jeep, the Ram products, and he was a little kid, and you'll remember this as well as anybody, Terry. And Dodge was racing when he was really little. Well, then they went away. So for him, it's passionate. It's just something that he's worked in the dealership. He's been around it. So for him to be able to represent on the racetrack the brands that he's sort of he's grown up around is a pretty cool thing. And he did a really good job of talking about that.
Well, and you mentioned I've known Daniel since he was 5, and he's pretty close to the best guy, as are you. But we got to see the real Daniel Dye. Larry McReynolds is a great interviewer, obviously, and knows the sport as good as anybody. But Daniel was the real Daniel Dye, and the emotion came through on the privilege that he is going to be a Ram truck driver. And he talked about the way he grew up and all the parts and pieces. I've said many times, being at the racetrack at Daytona International Speedway with Daniel when he was 5-6 years old, and him jumping up and down the bleachers, rooting for Dale Jr. to all the way around to this. It was interesting and great to see it come through in Daniel's emotions. But that being said, again, a fantastic interview. And Randy, here in a minute, if you could tell everybody how to link to it, if you have that would be great. But all the work that you and so many others have put in for so long, and we've talked about that a ton of times, but to now officially have it out there to the public, and it was rolled out in a big way. Daniel Dye driving a Ram truck in a history-making season in 2026 has got to hit right at home with you, brother.
It does for me too. I will say, when I started the mission, or my mission, to get Dodge and Ram and all things back into NASCAR, Daniel was he was 8 years old. So, and he had just barely begun his quarter midget driving career, and so there was no way to connect quarter midget racing and for that matter Daniel to anything that might happen to get them back in the sport. As a matter of fact, I can tell you without qualification, I never believed it would take this long. I'm not that patient. If I had known it was going to take this long, I would. I don't know that I would have tried as hard as I did. So, and there were several along the way. There were several almost. We're almost there. We're ready to go. We're close. Even just a few years ago. So there were never. It was never a thing that Daniel would be a part of that. it was whatever Daniel's going to do. I mean, to be honest with you, I always thought Daniel was going to be it was just going to be a hobby, and he and I would go to races and enjoy the sport, and never believed it would be a lifestyle for him. I tell you, I thought that we would have been back in the sport much sooner. So there was never a conversation that included Daniel. It was, let's get them back. Well, then they line up. They're coming back, and here we are running the Xfinity Series, and Daniel, he says there's some talk, and of course I kept him out of this because I wanted him to be focused on what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But the colleague people wanted him, and quite frankly, so did the Ram people. And I'm going, I don't know, I want him to do that. Fresh, new team, new to the sport. It takes a while to get that stuff going. We're already 3 years in. I mean, I'm just, it was, but there was never any wavering on his part. He said, Dad, if they want me to do it, I'm going to do it because I want to do it. And I think what you said, you described it perfectly. The real Daniel came out, and you heard it in the interview, and it was pretty clear about how he feels about the opportunity to do that. And by the way, he sent a note out to several of the dealers that they were in a meeting. We were all in a meeting. Well, not all of us, but the National Dealer Council, when they announced it. I didn't even know they were announcing it. And I'm starting getting text messages from the dealers and going, hey, that's cool. Way to go. I'm like, what the heck are they talking about? And so, yeah, he thanked them. He's looking forward to representing them. And I think one of the things that's cool, he actually has an understanding of what the dealers go through and what it looks like and what happens in a dealership. So he's going to be able to relate. And I think that's a very unique perspective.
Well, what a perfect individual to represent the brand, of course, for all the reasons that you just stated. It was interesting to hear him again in the interview, which was a great interview, talking about, I'm going to go back now in my closet and dig out some of my Dodge shirts and stuff and start wearing them again. And then interesting, and I'll let you comment on this one, and I don't know if they've worded it correctly in the press release that I have in front of me, but it says the last line of this press release that, that the headline is Colleague Racing will pause its Xfinity program, as you just said. But it says in the bottom here, and then I want you to comment, should Ram move to the Cup Series in future years, the expectation is Colleague would eventually return to the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. So obviously, I don't think it's going to be called Ram in the Xfinity Series if that happens. But that being said, the possibility of the organization being in the Cup Series and Colleague coming back into the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series is an interesting way to close this press release. Your thoughts on that statement?
Well, I think and of course I have the benefit of being kind of on the inside, both the benefit and the curse, right? But they're committed to this effort. They've hired a really good guy to be the head of competition. I say this is the brands, and they've made a pretty significant commitment to Colleague. And Colleague has made a significant commitment to them. If you think about this, the Colleague organization is pretty solid in the Xfinity Series, and they've quote unquote they've paused the effort to join with Ram and what might come down the road. So I think if you look and listen to how Matt Colleague talks and the way he thinks. He was a very successful athlete. He's a very uber successful businessman. This is the right fit. I would tell you that the Dodge and Ram and brands are very blue collar and work hard and it's not just a wine and cheese group. It's a hardworking bunch of people, and I think it's why I like it so much, among other reasons. I think the cars are beautiful and the trucks are phenomenal, but it's a perfect partnership. And look, it's new, and there's gonna be new things that are going to be challenges, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a really solid deal. And the one thing about the colleague organization is they are different. They're not cookie cutter NASCAR, and I can assure you, without a doubt, from personal experience, Ram and the brands that are under that group are not cookie cutter.
No, we've certainly seen that, and just are about to see a lot more of that in 2026. Amazing to hear Daniel talk about, speaking of Colleague, and the team and how he feels about the leadership at Colleague, all that stuff. And then on the flip side of that, to have them, and I was looking at the record, the Xfinity Series record for Colleague, and it's a good record. Allmendinger, all the things he did. Anyway, a great record. A little bit off in the last couple of years, but to have them commit to the Craftsman Truck Series with 5 teams, it's an amazing thing in itself. But it says a lot. I mean, the guys, the 3 that have already been selected, the 2 more to come, got to make them feel pretty good that Colleague is focusing on the Truck Series like they are. I'm sure Daniel's had some comments to you about that. So that's huge in itself. 5 truck teams moving out of the Xfinity Series to focus on those 5 is a huge statement.
It is, and you're going to really, one of the things that they're working on with one of the trucks whose driver it'll be, it's a crazy process that they're going through. I can't say much more than that, but you're going to have a blast. It's going to be definitely worth paying attention to, and then you'll see. It's not just a one-off. It's how it all connects. And when I tell you they're different, man, are they different. But hey, I want to also say something before we move too far away from this, Terry.
Go ahead.
Our relationship with the Chevrolet people have been they're first-class people, and I would tell you that they've treated me. Even as a Dodge dealer, they've treated me. They've treated Daniel with just tremendous respect. And I would tell you that I don't think that the only thing Daniel's going to drive in 26 is a Ram truck. So just want to give them a shout out too, because they've just been great. I mean, they welcomed us into their family, even knowing, we're competitors when it comes to the automobile industry. So I think I have great friends that are Chevrolet dealers, and an extension of that, it's the same thing. I mean, healthy, respectful competition. But in the case of the motorsports deal, they've just been great, and we're grateful to them for all that they've done for us up to this point. And I'm sure, I hope that in 26 you'll see some extension of that to some extent.
Well, it's a reflection. We've talked about this all the time, of the sport itself, of NASCAR itself, the way the teams are family, the whole organizations, all of the manufacturers. Golly, I wish our government could take an example from how we work together so well in NASCAR. But last question, I know you can't say a lot about it yet. Daniel talked about it a bit as far as, well, golly, what's the number going to be? He talked about his history with 43. He said, it's probably not going to be 43. So you probably don't know, or maybe you do and you can't say yet, but any idea?
I think,
what?
Yeah, I do, and I don't mind telling you. I'll tell you my opinion. I don't know that it's 100% locked in, but I feel like it's going to be the 10. Daniel's identity in the Xfinity Series has been the 10. It's a colleague, kind of a colleague thing. Colleague has the 10 and 16 in the Cup Series, and we had the 10 and the 16 and the 11 in the Xfinity Series. So my instincts tell me it'll be the 10. I mean, there's already, you read the social media, and there's a lot of, okay, great, he's going to bring the 43 back, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, so that's not my decision, thankfully. I don't know if I had to make it this moment while we're on the phone together, which way I would go. I'd probably, maybe I do know. And I'm not going to tell you what that is.
I think that's probably best. There's no doubt about that. But yes, I agree. I mean, the 10 is a great number. As a matter of fact, my brother-in-law, David Vickers, was on the championship team in Oklahoma in 1985 with Barry Switzer. He was a killer back who went to Seattle, and he wore number 10. So I like that number too for lots of reasons. So we'll see what happens, and we'll certainly keep you posted, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, can you tell us the link so folks can come listen to that interview, Randy, or no?
You can find it on YouTube. It's out there. I think it's going to be posted to Daniel's social media as well, so you can get it there. You'll find it. So it's I would tell everybody who goes to listen to it, it's about maybe 15 minutes long, I think, Terry, probably.
Yep, it is. Yes.
So it's not a 90-second deal, but I'm obviously partial because he's my son, but I thought it was a pretty real, as you said earlier, that was the real Daniel Dye.
Well, and it's worth listening to. Let me say in a word how I felt about it. My wife, of course, is more emotional than me, but it was heartwarming to hear a young man with a history-making individual, Larry McReynolds, talking about a history-making event, which we're going to see unfold day by day. Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, we're still on the air after the championship. We're going to have a lot to talk about, and that'll be part of it. But then we roll into 2026, and it'll be a history-making year. So what a way to kick it off with this interview. So as Randy said, go check it out. It'll be up on Daniel's site as well. And congratulations. Pass that on to Daniel for us. We're, as we say all the time, very proud of him, Randy.
Yep. Well, thank you. And I also want to thank Larry for doing what he did. And he took a fair amount of time, I think, and spoke to Daniel about Race to Stop Suicide. And,
yes,
that was really a plus, I think, as well. So thanks.
Yeah, big time. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we're rolling right through our time. Let's get right into the truck section of Trackside.
The tough trucks of NASCAR are next up on the agenda, presented by Aaron Delgado and Associates. With over 110 combined years of experience in criminal defense and personal injury, Aaron Delgado and Associates takes pride in vigorously representing clients in various challenging legal situations within the community. Now, let's go trucking.
Well, Randy, coming on about a half hour after we go off the air, we're going to see the Championship 4 in the Truck Series. Corey Heim, Ty Majeski, Jaden Honeycutt, and Tyler Ankrum race for a championship. Something that really hit me, Randy, and we talk a lot about the goofy things that happen in NASCAR and the challenges that Daniel's having to face, including at Martinville and Chase Elliott, all the stuff. But Caden Honeycutt, just looking at kind of his year, was, 6th in the series standings when Nice released him after 16 races. And all the, we don't have time to go into all of it, all the pieces that fell in and out of place to get him back and situated, and injuries that happened that put him in the seat and so on and so forth. Amazing for a young man to overcome all these things and now Caden Honeycutt is racing in the championship race this evening. It's a big one.
Yeah, I would just tell you that because we were preparing, I'm looking at that and going, it wouldn't be a total shocker to me to see him win. He's extremely aggressive, and he is, I think he's one of those people that appreciates the fact that he is where he is.
Right.
And so I wouldn't count him out. He's going to go from where he is to a very high, very prominent Toyota seat next year. At least that's, as I understand it, that's the rumor. So not at all would it surprise me. I think of all the people going into the championship 4, the one that has the most pressure on him has to be, without a doubt, Corey Heim.
Right.
And why? Well, I mean, when you win 10 races and you really probably should have won the championship last year, you're definitely the guy to pick for good reason. I mean, they've outperformed everybody. He's outperformed everybody, and I think there's some extra motivation there because of what he may or may not be doing next year. So I think it's Caden Honeycutt. I mean, if he goes in there and wins, that's going to be like the upset of the year. And so I think if you look at it, and obviously we talk about the others, Tyler Ankrum from Bill McAnally. McAnally is noted for his success in the Truck Series. Tyler's run good all year. You can't. This is one of those deals. You can't just go run for the points. You got to be mindful of your competition and stay ahead of them. It's a cool racetrack for a finale, in my opinion. And then obviously Ty Majeski is one of the best short track racers there is. He's very knowledgeable about not only driving but building race cars and working on race cars. So the cool thing is you've got 2 Toyotas, a Ford, a Chevrolet. So all the brands that are in the Truck Series are in the Final 4, and we'll see what happens. I don't think it's a sure bet that Corey Heim wins, but I would say he is the favorite for sure.
Well, obviously with that many wins, but as you and I have talked about it many times and have witnessed many times, there just ain't no way to predict a championship race. There's just not. The best way to see the outcome is just to be there. I haven't looked at ticket sales. I'm sure they're way up there for all these races. But wow, edge of your seat this evening here just shortly for this race, because it's going to be a good one, Randy.
It is, for sure. No question about it.
Before we move on to break, Lane Riggs is planning on staying with Front Row in 2026. He'll return to the number 34, and looks like that, Randy, is a multi-year contract for Lane Riggs. So that's a good piece of news right there. There's just so many great drivers in all 3 series right now. I mean, you just can't make it up. What a farm club and what great racing we're going to see for many years in the future. So I know you know Lane Riggs, and he's done a great job. And congratulations to sticking with Front Row in 2026 in a long-term contract.
Yep, I think he's. If you look at who you know is going to go back in the Truck Series next year, going to be in the Truck Series, he has to be one of the guys that you're going to have to deal with if you're going to have any success in the Truck Series. His dad was a great racer, Scott, and Lane's proven himself as worthwhile to have that seat and to have it for more than 1 year for sure. So, and I like the guys in Front Row. Jerry Freese is a friend, and they do a good job, and they have a good program.
Absolutely. With that, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a quick break. We got lots more to cover. We'll be right back to talk about the Championship 4 for Xfinity Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Trackside.
Introducing the all-new tractor and outdoor power equipment section at DeLand Motorsports and Outdoors. Now you can gear up for your outdoor projects with premium brands like Bobcat, Massey Ferguson, Shindaiwa, Echo, and more. Need a powerful lawnmower for that perfectly manicured lawn? They've got it. How about a rugged tractor to tackle those big projects? DeLand Motorsports and Outdoors has you covered. And let's not forget the Lawn and Garden Center with everything from weed whackers to chainsaws. Commercial or residential, DeLand Motorsports and Outdoors has the goods to keep you moving. So why settle for ordinary when you can have extraordinary? Visit DeLand Motorsports and Outdoors today at their new location and explore the thrilling world of outdoor power equipment. DeLand Motorsports and Outdoors, where the thrill of the ride meets the power of the great outdoors. Your journey begins here.
Welcome back to Trackside as we now take a look under the hood in the NASCAR Xfinity Series presented by Daytona's Garage. Daytona's Garage offers more than just standard dealership customization. They provide a comprehensive range of services for personalizing and enhancing cars, Jeeps, and trucks of any make and model, focusing on both aesthetics and performance with affordability. Reliable service. Now, back to Terry and Randy.
Well, Randy, before we roll into it, we've often talked about what goes through the driver's head, and maybe sometimes the chin strap on the helmet may be a little bit too tight. Tono, Sam Mayer, suspended for wrecking Jeb Burton on the cool-down lap at Martinsville. With everything going on with Sam Mayer trying to move up, all the things going on there, doesn't seem like he was thinking too clearly to wreck Burton on the cool-down lap. Suspended for the race. There were some other interesting penalties involved in all that as well. We don't have time to go into all that, but and then the interview after all of this happened. I don't think Sam Mayer's helping himself.
I think what you got to know about Sam Mayer, he's pretty straightforward. He talked about how he feels about the way Jeb Burton races, let's be honest. If you pay attention, this is not the first time that anybody's had an exception, taken exception with Jeb Burton. He's a hard racer. And I think the other thing about Sam, I would give him kudos for, going over and talking to Jordan Anderson, and Jordan Anderson come talking to him, and I think they had a respectful conversation. Sam acknowledges that he wishes he hadn't done it to Jordan's car, but he doesn't necessarily wish he didn't do it to Jeb. And so, NASCAR had no choice. You can't just go destroy somebody after the race intentionally. And so I think they had to do what they had to do. And I think, believe it or not, in Sam's mind, I think he did what he thought he had to do in order to somehow keep his level of respect. I don't know that it would change the way Jeb races. And I don't think, by the way, in defense of Jeb Burton, I don't think it's Jeb Burton against Sam Mayer. I think it's just the way Jeb Burton races. He is a hardcore racer, and it's not that he goes, "Oh, I don't like Sam Mayer," or "I don't like Daniel Dye," or "I don't like Jesse Love." No, that's not the way he does it. It's just that's just how he races. He's a hard racer, and sometimes that gets well, you see how it gets. And but I don't think, I will say this, and because to be consistent with the way I've been about all this stuff forever, I don't think you can ever use the race car as a weapon and it be okay. And that's really what he did. If you want to move somebody out of the way during the competition and get them, that's fine. And that's part of racing. But But when the race is over and the caution flag is out, it's a completely different dynamic. And you can't, there's a different set of circumstances going on, and nobody expects to have to avoid a wreck on the caution flag.
Right.
And including the personnel who attend to them. I mean, you now all of a sudden have a whole bunch more cars. What if Jeb Burton gets hurt in that situation, and all the traffic that the medical personnel are going to have to try to navigate through to get to him? So I just want to say I understand his frustration, but I don't condone using the race car as a weapon.
Well, I've said this many times. When we were in school, you and I, and that's been a while, we would settle things differently. In NASCAR,
Yep.
A lot of things, and there's lots of videotape on how the guys used to settle things, and they would take their helmets off and settle things with their fists, and I think that's a better way. Of course, the safety factor that you just mentioned, and I'll move quickly because we got a lot more to cover, but okay. Somebody else's car, Sam, you don't own the car, Jordan's car, all of those things. To me, still, if you do that intentionally on a cool down after the race, etc., you have to pay for the damage to both cars. I think that would stop a lot of this and maybe have some more. I mean, I've said in the past, we can put a boxing ring somewhere in the infield and settle this stuff. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that because we got more before we get into the Xfinity Final Four. But quick news here, Carson Kvapil is definitely going to be running full-time for Junior Motorsports in the O'Reilly Auto Parts. A lot of questions. Well, is he going to be full-time? He should be. Is he going to share the one? Junior has said that let me get through the championship here because it's coming down to serious for the championship between a couple of big teams here, Junior being one of them. We'll get more news. Carson, Connor Zilich may be sharing the one still. We just don't know. Junior said he'd let us know. And the Cope Family Racing is planning to return to the Xfinity Series in to the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series in 2026. So first year of the organization has been through, and now they're looking for drivers. A couple of their drivers are moving on, one of them going back to the ARCA Series. So they're looking for drivers, so we'll see what happens right there. And then, of course, as we go into the Championship 4 for the Xfinity Series tomorrow, pretty simple. Connor Zilich, Justin Allgaier, Jesse Love, and Carson Kvapil. Again, 4 names that are serious competitors. Same kind of situation. Connor Zilich has, is it 10 or 11 wins in the Xfinity Series? So this is going to be interesting, but again, hard to predict, Randy.
Yeah, and I think, I don't think that the racetrack actually favors Connor Zilich. But I can't, I would have to say the racetrack favors Justin Allgaier. His experience, he knows how to do it. He's won there. He did it from the back. I would say that in my view, he's the favorite. But 4 Chevrolets, so Chevrolet wins. I think the other interesting dynamic here, though, is that Eric Almirola is running for the Owners' Championship for Joe Gibbs Racing and the Toyota. So he's pretty good there. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays into it because he's going to want to make sure they win the Owners' Championship and even win the race. One way to steal the thunder of the brand that's going to win the championship is to get in the way of it and win the race. So I think that'll be an interesting dynamic. You got Ryan Sieg's going to drive the 41 because of what you just mentioned. So lots going on in the Xfinity race tomorrow. And as you heard in Daniel's interview, this is one of his favorite racetracks. He finished second here in this first ARCA race. Probably, in my view, maybe should have won it. But so I think he's going to be good. And there's a thing, you think about the colleague pausing the Xfinity Series next year. This is a big deal to them too, right? They'd love to win their last race before the pause.
Yes, big time. No doubt about that. Well, it's interesting. You're a NASCAR historian. We've been doing this show for a long time, but you go back in time, Junior Motorsports basically against Richard Childress Racing in the championship here tomorrow, and the history with the Earnhardt family with Richard Childress and all this coming down. My press release says they collide in the Phoenix finale. So interesting stuff historically as well, no doubt about that. With that, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be fun to watch for sure. Let's roll into the Cup section of Trackside.
UniFirst presents Conversation about the NASCAR Cup Series, the pinnacle. In auto racing, just like Cup, UniFirst is also the leader of the pack as the uniform and facility service experts. Let's go back to our hosts, Randy and Terry.
Okay, well, just a heads up, Randy. The question that I asked earlier probably needs to be in the back of your mind here in just a moment, because you are going to be held to account to answer it. Judge Bell has to let's go to the court real quickly. Judge Bell dismisses NASCAR's counterclaim, and an update there, and we won't go into the detail. Denny Hamlin was interviewed about it, and he said clearly. Bob Parkhurst was talking to him in detail, and basically Denny says, the media says one thing. When it comes down to the bottom line, they don't know all the details, and they don't give you all the details. But Denny Hamlin says no settlement in sight to close the lawsuit. Another quick side note before you comment there, Randy. Denny Hamlin was also asked, because, of course, he's in the Final Four, and also asked, well, what if you win, might you retire? And it was interesting to see how he responded, which kind of lays out that it's a possibility that if he does win the championship, he's been trying for a long time and come very close and been disappointed that he may be gone. So your comments on this one.
Well, I think you and I both have been somewhat critical of Denny Hamlin's attitude, not his ability.
Right.
Over the years, his ability is just amazing, but his attitude, I think, has been questionable. But that being said, I wouldn't want to see him retire, because I think that personality is important for the sport. I don't agree with much of what he says. I don't, but that doesn't mean he shouldn't be there. And right. Certainly, in terms of the ability and his performance and his record, absolutely should be there. I don't know that. Winning the championship at his age, he's still on his game. Okay, right. He's not. There's no deterioration of Denny Hamlin as a race car driver. I think maybe he's as good as he's ever been, maybe better than he's ever been, and so I don't see. I would, in my mind, unless you've lost the heart, if he wins, the thing that would be, I'm going to be the repeat champion, right? I mean, that's what you got to be thinking, and again, man, when you look at the guys that are going to run in this for this championship, wow, there's some cool stuff going on there.
Yes, Larson, Byron, Hamlin, and Chase Briscoe. That's going to be a tough one. There's no doubt about that. So fun. I agree with you there. I don't see him retiring. He did say something that really stuck out in my mind in the interview, that his loyalty to Joe Gibbs and Joe Gibbs Racing and that team is very, very strong in light of everything that's going on and his other team, all the stuff. Still, that loyalty is there to the coach and the entire team. I don't see that we see Hamlin go away. Okay, Randy, the question, ladies and gentlemen, was if Aunt Bee were still alive today, could we trust her? Why do I ask that question? Kyle and Samantha Bush file a suit against an insurance company. They claimed losses of $8.5 million and being misled into purchasing a complex life insurance policy that they were led to believe were safe retirement plans, and it turns out that is not the case. So another big lawsuit in the NASCAR family, and it just raises the question, Randy, who could be trusted? Comments, please.
I would trust Aunt B. If Aunt B was selling insurance, I'd trust it. If Aunt B was selling oceanfront property in Arizona and the desert, I'd trust her. I mean, she's just, but hey, look, unfortunately, the ethic and of the Aunt B character, isn't out there everywhere. And, I don't know what the promises were made, and obviously that will just see how that plays out. It's too bad. It's too bad that whomever led them to believe that it was going to yield X was wrong, whether by intent or by error. And it's too bad that the Bushes have suffered the loss. And now it's going to be more because of the attorneys have to get in the game.
Yes, and the only reason we had touched on it is because all the court stuff that we've had to deal with, and of course it is a very famous family in NASCAR. Randy, I would agree. I would 100% trust Aunt B. I'm not sure about Andy, though. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, as we close the program, in all three of the series, folks, the inspection cycle is going to be much longer than usual. Typically, Randy, as you know this well, they're about 90 minutes. They're saying 3 to 4 hours for the champion's vehicle, because they will tear the engine down completely and extend the process. I mean, you better be squared away if you are the champion in NASCAR, because they're going to check you out pretty carefully. Randy, your thoughts on that before we go?
No, and they need to. You got to be sure. You got to make sure that and not only to make sure it's right, but it's also kind of an exploratory process, right? That's one of the things about NASCAR. That there is a pretty equal playing field when it comes to the tech process.
Exactly. Real quickly, speaking of engines, and the engines issues that Toyota has had, Denny Hamlin talked a lot about it. Joe Gibbs talked a lot about it. They believe that they have their engine issues handled and taken care of. Hamlin seems to be pretty confident, so we'll see. But yes, a very serious inspection, and as it should be. Ladies and gentlemen, the local, as you heard, racetracks have paused, so everybody can either attend in Phoenix or watch these races on television. I think all three of them should be witnessed because they will be historic. So check it out, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll tell you all about it next week. And, of course, we continue the program in the off-season, because it seems like almost as much happens in the off-season, I think you'd agree, Randy, and it does in the season itself. So, hey, thanks for being with us. Enjoy Championship Weekend. We'll talk to you next week right here on Trackside.
See you at the racetrack, everybody.
And with the checkered flag waving, we're wrapping up this week's edition of Trackside. Fear not, race fans, because we'll be back next week, proudly presented by Document Technologies. Tune in for a fresh new episode packed with engaging interviews, captivating conversations, and all the exhilarating moments you've come to expect. Until then, keep the racing spirit alive, and we'll see you next time on Trackside.